This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. Happy Saturday, buddy.
Happy Saturday to y'all.
You know it. Gotta love a good Saturday. The last summer Saturday of the year. Tomorrow's fall.
I know. I hope in Springfield that they're eating a lot of dogs and cats.
Well, you know, I mean, with barbecue. I don't know. How do you fix? I don't even know how to fix cats and dogs.
Only cat I ever had is Oriental restaurants.
I mean, you just cut it up. It don't matter, right?
Yeah, well, it's mild, they say.
You know, I do know that in France, and I don't know how it is now, but there for a while in France, you know, a rabbit is a big meal there in France. People love rabbit meat. And they, there for a while, it was like if you went to the grocery store to buy a rabbit, it had to have the head on it because people were like
afraid.
They're putting cats in instead of rabbits.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, but rabbit's good.
Oh, I like rabbit.
Yeah. But you want to know what the best thing is, Randy? Stuffed chicken. Yeah, stuffed chicken. Tonight's VFW stuffed chicken night. They do not have cats. They do not have dogs. They do not have rabbits. They will have stuffed chicken, and it's the best stuffed chicken you've ever had. So get on over there to the VFW.
It have 3 types of peppers in it.
Ooh. Now, when you say it, like is it a very spicy dish?
No, it have banana peppers. It will have some jalapenos. It have bell peppers. Has 3 types of cheese,
nice.
Cheddar, mozzarella, and my wife likes that.
Oh, that other cheese.
Jack.
Pepper jack cheese.
Yeah. Wrapped in bacon and grilled, baked potato and a salad, and rolls, $16. Nice. But, you know, for people that just don't want to eat chicken because I'm not having beef either this time, they can come get a baked potato and salad for $10.
Can't go wrong right there.
Well, I mean, we're trying to cater to everybody.
Sweet. I like a good baked potato, you know that.
But, you know, last steak night we had, and I know I'm putting it out there, I'm trying to put it out there a lot earlier than I have before because I got caught off guard. And
right.
Is everybody wanting these 32-ounce ribeyes? And we will have them, but you need to call. You just can't walk in and say, I want one. And so if you'll call the VFW and give them your name, how you'd like it cooked, you don't have to pay for it, but you got to show up.
Nice.
And that's 264-9570.
Nice.
Because that's a specialty cut. I have to buy a certain loin just for that steak.
Now, when is the steak dinner again?
3rd Saturday in October.
October. Next month. I mean, really just about a month away. I mean, it's not that far from now. So
well, we're trying to start to get our meals planned out a year in advance.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
And so I don't have to cook every month. Now Thanksgiving, you know, Dave does Thanksgiving, and he has ever since I've known him, and that's for people that doesn't have a place to go.
Nice. We'll love it. All right. Well, again, get out to the VFW tonight for the stuffed chicken dinner, and yeah. Perfect. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and we thank everybody for coming out.
That's it. You know, breakfast last time was super, super awesome. And
thanks to everybody that listened to us, that showed up at the breakfast.
Exactly. So,
and they all wanted to know if that was my recording studio there, and I said, no, I just have to be here on Saturdays.
That's all right. But nah, thanks again. You know, I also want to send a shout out to all the people who won those stickers a couple weeks ago. You know, I heard back from many of them that got the stickers, and we appreciate that. So,
wow,
they're driving around. You may see them all around Boone, all around North Carolina, and yeah. So if you see an All About Home Construction sticker, be like, you're cool. Where do I get one? And then you send us an email, and we'll figure out something.
Yep. And like us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Terry will be post the email address.
That's right. And then of course the podcast. We appreciate all the people listening to the podcast too. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take our first break, because I'm really kind of excited about talking about this next topic today. Something that gets us all. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304. That's right. All about home construction here on WAT. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there, near and far. Thank you so much for listening. And a little bit of all about home construction. Again, get out tonight for the stuffed chicken dinner. So anyway, yeah. All right. So this next topic, I think it's a fun one. I mean, it's a long topic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's something we could really dive into. It's something we have dove into in the past, but it's something that still goes on. You know, when I think back 4 years ago, when we're really just talking, during the COVID stuff, it was just constant, like, well, there's no materials. And it seems like that's still kind of a topic these days.
It is. And it gets pretty frustrating that there's still a backlog on a lot of stuff in construction.
Right.
And people don't understand that. And
well, it really still goes back to overall, like, just like any economic issue, right? Like supply and demand. But right now it seems like while there's a large supply, it's more of there's large demand rather. It's more of a fact that the supply chain's just kind of stalled and broken in places, and so the normal, if you will, is not making it through.
It's not. We're still experiencing shortages in everything across the trades.
Right.
And people don't believe it and that it's happening, but it is still happening. We have shortages in steel because a lot of steel is not manufactured in the United States. It's manufactured overseas.
Right.
And, here they're talking about a longshoreman strike on the East Coast. So that's going to stop all the trucks from being unloaded. And because, during COVID, we got to shipping products around Africa and South America because they had, or some of them, I guess, went through the Panama Canal, but some of the largest ones, I don't know if they can make it through or not.
Right. Well, I mean, that's it. And, when you look back on it, like, the cost, because all that adds to the cost, right? The cost of it in the last 4 years is up for construction, input costs, basically 40%, 38.7%. And, that's huge. And then unprocessed materials such as like natural gas and iron and steel, that's over 50% more than it was, 4 years ago.
Correct.
And so when you start to do that, it's more than there's just a lot of elements into it besides the fact that we can't get it here. But not getting it here is a huge chunk of that.
Well, it is affecting everybody. Yeah. And the smaller ships, they can navigate the canal.
Right.
They're saying some of the larger ones cannot, but 97% of them now can go through the Panama Canal.
Right.
But when we seen the video during COVID, all the ships were sitting down there because Panama's in a drought.
Mm-hmm.
Or just this last spring, Panama, they were showing they might, due to the water shortage in Panama, on filling the locks, the water into the locks, they were having to wait so long for each ship to go through.
Wow. Again,
Nobody expected a tropical rainforest to be in a drought.
Yep. That's true. And yeah, I mean, it's just so many factors into it. You can't just fix one, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But really, I think that the market itself, there's like three key, I don't know if you want to call them trends or challenges, but again, the cost of materials, the supply chain, and the disruptions in that, and then of course we talked last week or so about the labor shortages. And so I think when you look at all three of those together, that's really that's sort of the three parts, if you will, that's causing these issues.
Yeah, well, speaking of labor shortages, 546,000 workers short in the construction field.
Wow. Yeah. So there you go. Right. I mean, clearly 10 guys are going to build a house faster than 2 guys.
Correct.
So.
And but it's just not in the wood bangers. It's in everybody.
Right.
Heating and air, plumbing, and everything. And I know we discussed it in the past about the amount of school you have to be a licensed electrician or plumber or heating and air. And that's 2,000 hours in class for each one.
Right.
And 2,000 hours on the job. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of work.
Well, you mentioned there, about like HVAC, for instance. You're talking about heating and plumbing, but I was reading too. Like, again, not to say it's all the labor shortage, but also like some of that equipment, especially when it comes to like the electrical stuff, right? The AV components and the electrical stuff, the HVAC equipment. You're running some of they have really some of the longest lead times in the industry, especially when you start tying commercial industry in this discussion here. Some of that is like 42 to 52 weeks, 60 weeks. I mean, you're think about that. You're talking about a year, and in some cases, waiting on a part, waiting on that equipment piece.
Yep.
And we all know that when it comes to HVAC stuff and electrical stuff, you're not going to move in a house without it. They're not going to give you a CO without those two things.
Yep.
And and that's not. I mean, the labor shortage doesn't help, because when the stuff comes in, now you got to have guys to put it in.
Well,
but you got to have it first. And so it's like a chicken egg thing, right?
It is. And, they expect it to get worse this year, so I wonder if they expect it to get worse next year.
Well, I mean, what's making it get better, I guess, would be my argument, right? Like what – I mean, the labor market, we're trying to make, recruit more people. I mean, it's the industry itself has recruited, 500,000 people, but they need to get 500,000 more just to keep up, not even to catch up.
Even if you have schooling, and construction is not an easy job.
Right.
You watch me hobble in every Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean, you've been there and done that, right?
And but another thing that they're talking about is in the construction industry today, 1 out of 5 people is over 55 years old.
Yeah. When you said that like that, I mean, that's pushing retirement age. And, then I also think like the goal, what was it? A couple years ago, we had the show where we were talking like the ideal goal of starting your own construction business, right? Like you're the guy swinging the hammer, but hopefully by the time you retire, you're not swinging the hammer anymore. You're doing the business side of things,
Correct.
And so that's when you say that though, like how many of those, 55 and older are actually, so to speak, swinging the hammer and cutting the boards, right?
Yep.
So that's the numbers are probably skewed more, and it's. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's probably a large, as far as like the people who are actually on the job every day, swinging the hammers and building the house, it's probably even different amounts. I mean, it's going to impact it more, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yep. And another big one besides labor shortages, increased subcontractors' defaults on the job.
Interesting.
You know, that was one that was one thing they hit on in the class. It was how a lot of subcontractors are not doing their part, you know, and at least North Carolina's got a law that says failure to work without, after receiving money.
Right.
You know, and the same thing works for a homeowner. You know, if a contractor don't do or does the job and you don't pay him, then they have their same recourse that a homeowner does about suing a contractor that doesn't do the work.
Right. Well, and all that, I mean, it all ties into the cost of business. But, you know, also when you're building a house or having a house built, rather, it's those shortages are now costing you more because, again, it's going to take a little longer. But also, you know, for any business, right, when you're facing a shortage in employees and you need more employees, you're going to have to entice them some way. And usually that's a bigger paycheck, right? You know, and so if I need to hire 10 people, chances are if I don't have them, I'm going to find a way, whether it's some kind of bonus or some kind of higher hourly wage, to get them in. Well, that cost is going to move on to the homeowner.
Correct.
And so again, I think it's just this weird, like, web, this continuing circle of webs that, you know, you kind of the whole rob Paul to pay Peter kind of thing, right? Like, you can only do so much. Like, the money's not, or not just the money, but like the issues, it's not just a single thing. There's not just one cog in that wheel that you can fix. No, because it affects it all, and that's,
you know, there's not 100 people behind the contractor anymore.
Exactly. That's yeah, and that doesn't help any of those issues. The labor shortages, you know, it compounds that. It compounds the supply chain, and so forth. So, I don't know. We'll take a break. We'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for being part of the All About Home Construction community. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you the best content, and we're thrilled to have you as a valued listener. We want to thank the winners of our sticker contest: Elizabeth, Diane, Mark, Linda, Scott, Chuck, Deb, William, Katie, and Colin. We hope you guys enjoy the prize, and for everyone out there, don't forget to share the podcast with your families and friends. We'll have more contests soon, so everyone can be a winner. That's right. All About Home Construction here on WATA. Talking a little bit about the just sort of the supply chain issues on construction. Still going on. Still an issue, right? 4 years ago, we had this issue, and
we're still paying for it.
We're still paying for it. Yeah, it's still an issue, and I don't like that. But, you know, in just a minute, actually, I got some ideas on not how to fix it. I mean, we all got ideas how to fix it, but at least how to manage it. That's going to be my question in a minute. But I don't want to get there yet because, you know, we still haven't talked about this. Like, we've talked about the supply chain, we've talked about the labor shortages. Now, what about the actual cost of materials?
Well, here you go. You know, I'm just looking it up. Now, we all part of the reason the housing went up was because of tariffs to Canada. Mm-hmm. Okay, which Canada sells us all the softwood lumber that goes into our framing.
Right.
Well, Canada has always had a renewable forest. They're nearly 100% rural.
Well, I was going to say, because there's not a lot of things going on in Canada.
But if they cut a tree, I mean, since the 90s, they cut a tree, they plant a tree back, mm-hmm. where we didn't.
Right, and
until our lumber companies was forced to do it.
And when you're talking 30, 40 years ago, right, you're starting to reap those benefits of those trees growing.
Well, you know, here in the South, replanting was always been big, mm-hmm. okay, because we made paper products in the South. Well, we also have treated lumber that came out, you know, in the 40s. So they realized that they needed to replant their forests back. And a southern pine grows faster than a white pine or a spruce does. When I was out there in northern Idaho back in 92, 93, there might be a white pine tree that might be 60 foot tall, but is only 10 inches at the base.
Right. That's crazy.
I know, but they're growing strong and tall.
Right.
And so it takes 40 years to grow a tree. because they can't fertilize them like they do southern trees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and but I did not realize our tariffs on lumber was 8.5% on Canadian softwood products. August 19th, 2024, they increased the tariffs to 14.54%.
That doesn't help, man. I mean, like,
so, you know, it's like a bait and switch because, you know, I see it at the big box stores. There's some things cheaper, but then there's some things that's so absorbent in the cost, just so they could try to level out some of the cost.
right.
Doors and windows, you know, we've talked about those, how they've gone up.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, all I mean, across the board, right? Concrete, asphalt, gypsum, those are all higher thanks to inflation, but also energy prices. You know, it takes energy to produce these materials, right? Like
Right.
even the tree, right? We have to cut it down. We have to get it to a sawmill. We have to saw it up. We have to, you know, kill dry it. That all takes energy, and you know, most of that's some type of gas powered energy, right?
It is. Matter of fact, I met a guy, I guess, in 90, and he was the superintendent for a lumber company in Maine, in Vermont. And all their plants run off electricity, but they all run off boiler systems. And all the sawdust, all the slabs, and all of it was chipped up, and it was put back in it like a blast furnace to create electricity, so they weren't buying energy.
Yeah.
But
That's a genius idea. I mean, but again, that goes back to the whole like green living, right? Like, you're gonna have to make energy. Why not use your waste?
correct, and I totally
And
agree
it's-
with it because it has to be a hot fire going, you know, to burn green lumber.
Right.
You know, just think about how hot it has to be just to keep the creosote from building up
Yeah.
in the that. Well, no, that's not a masonry flue. That's,
No, but
that's a
yeah,
steel. You know,
still.
But then there you go. There'll be somebody complain about having air pollution coming out of the stack of that,
Right.
and they're saving money. Just think about how long it's took for that company, you know, because of past history that allowed them to go ahead and do it.
Sure. You know, I don't know. There's no easy fix, but you know, there's.
I don't think it's going to get any better because every time there's a train wreck in the north, you know, they're the supply chains that interrupted.
Well, and I mean, it's always that we're in a global economy, and so I mean, you don't believe that? Go back to when the canal, you know, got blocked by that ship that got stuck.
Yeah.
You know, and we couldn't get our packages from Amazon and Temu. I mean,
You order from Temu?
yes. I don't know. My kids do. I told you though. All right, completely sidetracked here. They have a welder for like $15 on there. I don't know how to weld, but I want to get that $15 welder.
Well, you know what? You can learn by that.
I mean, what are you gonna? You can't go wrong with a welder for 15. There's like people out there right now listening to us. That's like, why are they gonna buy a welder for $15?
Well, the duty cycle's probably not very long, and then they only had.
You know,
What kind of welder is it? A wire welder or a stick welder?
I don't know. I didn't read the details, man. It's about, you know, it looks like a compact drill, so it can't be, you know, too much power behind it. But anyway, all right. We'll stop talking about Temu welders, and we'll get back right after these messages. Thanks for listening to us. The Boone VFW Post 7031 is looking at making improvements to their Veterans Memorial Wall, and you can help. Here's Chuck.
We could do engraved bricks to cover the memorial. It's in honor of the veterans who have served and some that have given their all for our country. And that's the one thing that we feel as the VFW that we can do to honor those who have come before and those who are even present today.
But Chuck, what do we have to do to participate?
You don't have to be a war veteran in order to be a part of this memorial. It's just that you served.
What is the cost?
That fee is only $50, but it's a lifetime investment.
If you would like to help participate by honoring a family member, a friend, or a loved one, you can contact the Boone VFW Post 7031 at 828-264-9570. They are on VFW Drive just off of State Farm Road here in Boone. Thank you for all that I've served. All about home construction on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there. And steak dinner next month. That means it's chicken dinner this weekend.
It is. And, if anybody wants to take on a 32-ouncer, they must call and reserve it.
I mean, maybe you should go ahead and get mine now.
Yeah, but I got to start cooking it now.
What?
Because you want it well done.
Well, I mean, I can't help it. You got to marinate it first.
Well, I know that, but hell, what do you want me to marinate it in? Battery acid so I can cook it down?
Yeah, y'all give me a hard time about my well done steak. See if I care.
Oh, well, I can do that. I'm not like everybody else.
Look, you guys can have your raw beef all you want. Look, I don't eat raw sushi either.
Well,
so I don't know. I mean, let me just take a moment here to go back to the history. We've done this show a while back about we love our history, and there's this thing called fire. And we're not cavemen that has to eat like raw dinosaurs anymore. Like, we can actually cook our food. And if you're gonna cook food, like, why not actually cook food? I mean, if you want it warm, just put it in the microwave. I mean, if you're going to cook it, like, actually cook it. And that's when Randy shot me. And he's going to be doing the show solo from now on. But anyway.
No.
Nah, for real, though. Get out there.
You know what they say, don't you? Different strokes for different
folks. That's all right. You know what, though? Look, I have had your prime rib, and you didn't cook it well done for me. And I actually liked it. It was good. So,
well, it's a misconception, but we're talking about shortages and stuff.
Right.
Okay. And Lowe's carries Therma-Tru doors. They actually manufacture those. Now they're calling them Tru-Fit patio doors, and that's what I was looking up. And because I was looking at last week a Genwell door at Lowe's that was $1,100. All right, this week it's $666, and that's what I was talking about, a bait and switch on certain products.
Right.
Well, a steel patio door, a 6.0, with now this is one fixed panel, and it's just a standard door in 2020. Or in 2018, let's go back. You probably could have got for $399. All right, now that door starts at $1,400.
That's crazy. I mean,
we've, I like to know where the American steel comes from to do the automobiles with.
Is it?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I think well, for one, I mean, let's be honest. How much steel does an automobile even have anymore?
Well, it has a lot of steel, but it's thin steel. But like the Ford trucks, it's all out of aluminum. All that aluminum probably comes out of Canada because Canada's the number one supplier to the United States in aluminum.
Or recycled. There's a lot of recycled products going out right now. But can you? Is recycled steel going into cars? I don't know.
Probably. All steel is recycled. It was being all sent to China instead of being recycled.
Yeah, I know. They were trying to, they were buying it up but again, all that plays into these material costs for building, right? Like, I know we're talking about steel, but even a traditional, if you will, built house still relies on steel in various ways. I mean, obviously, if you build a house out of steel, you have to have steel. But if we didn't have access to steel, it would be pretty hard for you to build a traditional house as well.
Correct.
I mean, all that goes into, various alloys that your nails and your screws even, right?
Well, most nails aren't even made. The best nails we ever had come out of South Korea. Mm-hmm. When they, Charlotte used to produce a lot of nails down there.
Yep.
And when I was a kid, they all come out of Charlotte. Good nails. Then all of a sudden they went away, and South Korea was making the nails.
Right.
And that was in the 80s, or up into the 80s with, Charlotte nails.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 90s, it's more South Korea nails. And but I don't know where they're made now because I ain't paid attention.
Right. I know I don't get off subject, but I mean, I know we talk a lot about nails and the coatings on nails, but what's the main alloy in the actual nail these days?
Well, I don't know. Besides steel, but it's not a temper steel because it's got to be able to flex.
Right. That's what I don't know. That's where my brain's going this morning.
Because when you set a nail, it's untelling how many licks you take it, but not every time you hit it with a hammer, it's not the same direction.
Right.
All right. So that's got to have a little bit of bend in it as it goes through, and that's the reason they call them coated nails, because they're coated in a glue.
Right.
So they're expecting you when you drive that nail to get that glue hot to create the bond.
Right. Licks. Randy's mixing his Tootsie Roll Pops with his nails. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a nail?
Well, it depends if you're a professional framer or want to be. Because when I was framing down in Atlanta, you took 2 licks to set a nail, but your hammer was a 32-ounce hammer.
I'm not licking any nails.
Set, lick. But it just...
That's what's wrong with you people who like raw steak. You lick nails too.
Nah.
Don't tell me I'm wrong. All right, so here's my question is, like, how do we deal with this construction material shortage? I mean, it's a fact. We can try to fix it, but honestly, like, especially as consumers, we can't really fix it.
No, we can't. A few weeks ago, you posted that thing from Home Builder Association paper on what you want.
Yep.
And in your home. And that helps out a bunch too, because that way you as a homeowner can do your own research to what you want, instead of saying, here, I want this house built, and you're making me scratch my head, and there's nothing here but a drawing of a house.
Right.
There's no specifications.
Well, what you're alluding to there, though, is planning ahead and forecasting.
Correct.
Like if you have a plan, like, okay, I need these materials, including this, this electrical panel that's 6 weeks out, or this door I have to buy that's 4 weeks out, 10 weeks out. You can plan ahead, and so I'm still putting in my foundation, but I can go ahead and start to purchase these things and
Correct.
get these things on order. And so you're right. I think the planning ahead and the forecasting is really the biggest thing as a consumer that you can do to counteract, I guess you'd say, the shortages.
And it does help, looking at different options.
Yep.
All right. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of work, but some years tongue and groove is cheaper than drywall.
Right. So, so knowing what the market is at the moment.
Yep. What is paint higher than urethane?
Yep.
And, the days of 29 a gallon for paint's long gone.
Right. Well, again, so substituting those materials for alternative options, especially those that could be more readily available, for sure would save or help you. But one thing I think you pointed to there too is not just picking different materials, not substituting materials, but where do you get those materials, right? Like I think more and more in the economy the way it is, you have to diversify your suppliers more.
Correct.
If you can. And I mean, and that's not we love going to the local places here in town. I support them all the time, but sometimes I have to go to, and so having that network of connections to know, which one has what product at the best price, shopping around, right?
But you can spend 100 hours shopping because when it goes to bill, it's
right.
You got to run around. But probably when it's all said and done, there's not but 5% difference in the local building supplies and the box chains.
No, I agree with that.
And most of the time, the little building supply has a little better products than the box chain.
Yeah. No, 100% agree with that. But I guess where I'm going is like, okay, this store tends to have, and sometimes it's just different brands of products, right? But like, if I need a window, I'm going to go to store X. If I need, this product or, this paint, I'm going to store Y. And so diversifying and knowing which suppliers has the best selection of what you need. But again, it goes back to the planning stage too, because, the longer you know what you're going to get, the more time you have to shop around. Again, if you're waiting on one 2x4, you don't want to go to 5 different stores to see what the price is,
correct.
Right? Like,
that's right.
Because you're waiting on that. And so,
HDTV is one of the worst things I've ever seen to tell homeowners how to do things correctly.
Yeah.
Because now they tell us what to do, and you know what I have to tell them? Go get your damn license.
I can't do that, right? I mean, that's half the time you can't do. I mean,
and most of this stuff is not even done on the East Coast. This is done on the West Coast.
Makes a difference, right?
Yeah. Probably the only people that does any quality work, and they're not even on HGTV, and that's this old house.
This old house, man, you can't go wrong there.
No, because, these are craftsmen doing craftsman's job for craftsman wages, and I always like to watch them.
Yep.
I still do from time to time.
Yeah.
And,
Ask This Old House is probably one of my favorite TV shows.
But it's like my dad told me one time, he said, why you want to watch that? That's just soul stuff. Like the Woodwright on PBS, he said, why do you think he invented skill saws? So you ain't cutting with a handsaw,
Look,
but sometimes the basic is what teaches you to be a better carpenter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Look, Norm Abram has taught many people that he's never even met.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been from me to you from Norm Abram.
Nice.
And I wouldn't aggravate him like a lot of other people.
Right.
But it was nice to sit there, and that was in 2001 or 2002.
Okay. Nice.
And which it was great to see. And we got if you all ever get a chance, and you can go to the International Home Show. I think it was in Las Vegas this last year.
I think you're right. Yep. Actually, there were some people here in Boone that went.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to a few of them.
It goes from Las Vegas to Orlando, Florida, because the venues aren't big enough. We seen them in Atlanta.
Yep. I remember you saying that.
And they said Atlanta was 1 million square foot was too small to house it.
Dang, that's crazy.
And the amount of people that comes from all over the world to bring new products in and stuff, that was probably the first time I ever seen bamboo flooring.
Nice. That's cool. Well, there you go. All right, so going into trying to finish up some of these, like, how do we handle the shortages? Buy in bulk, I think, when you can. That helps you out.
If you got a place to store it.
Yeah, right.
And one thing that they were hitting about at that class we had was, how you order your materials, pay attention, go ahead and buy the roll of plastic to cover your materials up so they're not getting the weather on them.
Yeah.
Because lumber, it is kiln dried, but then it sits out in the yard, okay?
Right. I've had this discussion many times,
and
right?
It's not the weather that causes the lumber to warp, it's the sun.
Yeah. Well, and you can kiln dry wood, we get it down to 6-7%, right? 5%. But you put it in a warehouse,
and then it goes back to about 19%.
20% is where dry wood wants to be. I mean, neighborhood, right?
Well, if let's say you get down to 9% with your framing material, and you drive a nail and it's going to split.
Oh, I know. I mean, you can see it. Yeah.
Fibers are too dry.
Yeah. No, I agree. And again, someone who used to do a lot of work with portable sawmills, right? Like air dried stuff. When I got it close to 20%, I was pretty happy with that, especially for the applications I was using. And but the reason being is, again, kiln dry stuff often will start to creep back up into the teens.
Yeah.
Moisture content. And so storing things it's a tricky one, right? I mean, but even for like these lumber yards, how many stacks of lumber do you see out in the field? I mean, in the yard in the rain, and just because it was kiln dry at 6-7% doesn't mean that when you bring it to the job, it's still a 6-7%. In fact,
it's not going to be. It's going to be 19-20.
Exactly.
And, which actually works in your favor.
Sure.
But they have to have it down that low just to be able to make the product stable.
Right.
Without splitting and stuff like that. And I'm truly amazed that, I cut a tree down and it sits there for a month. It's already checked, Yeah,
I know.
Where framing lumber generally doesn't ever check, But it's a type of species.
But one thing, too, I think we've alluded to here is knowledge, right? Like, we try to optimize waste in general. If I need an 8-foot piece of board, I'm gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy a 10-foot and cut 2 feet off, right? So optimizing that waste, but also proper planning and knowledge also helps optimize that waste, right? Like, in other words, again, knowing that wood is going to split. This particular piece will split if I nail it here. Well, then I'm going to use a different piece, right? So I'm not replacing that piece that just split.
But every piece of wood doesn't have to be thrown away because,
right.
You can use the drops on other places.
And again, though, going back to optimizing that waste.
Now, there are times over the years that we've ordered, let's say, a 2x10, 12-foot long. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't have it. So they'll send a 14-foot, okay? Well, if you pay attention to the big box stores, they don't have 14-foot lumber no more.
I really hadn't noticed that.
And so when you get online and you're looking up stuff, and, I really don't trust all the estimators out there because it's a shotgun effect.
Right, yeah.
The labor's pretty close on certain things, but material cost on other things is sometimes it's way too low or sometimes it's way too high. But it all goes on your zip code in your area, and that's how you do your estimation out.
Nice. Well, it's cool stuff. So, well, we got a couple more minutes. So, again, don't forget VFW chicken dinner tonight. Stuffed chicken, 3 different cheeses, 3 different peppers, 3 different mouth-watering flavors.
Wrapped in bacon.
Ooh.
Teriyaki sauce.
You have me at bacon. Oh, so that means the baked potato. If I don't want chicken and I want baked potato, that means you'll have bacon for my potato?
Yeah, on the salad bar. Bacon bits.
I like a good old... I like it. My mouth's kind of watering for the baked potato, not just the chicken, man.
Well, first off, you got to show up, and I know you're going to Charlotte.
I'm going to Charlotte. It's all right. I like soccer, man. It's the last soccer game for the home season.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Have a good time.
I will. Wish I had better company. Instead, I'm just going to go alone and cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm actually going to have fun, but still, it is what it is. And you know what? I'm going to have fun.
Have a safe trip.
Well, thanks. And I hope you sell out. In fact, I hope the listeners out there or that are listening locally especially are going to be like, you know what? He's right. I better get there closer to 4 o'clock because I don't want to be the guy that gets there at 7 o'clock and they sold out.
Well, we thank everybody for coming out over the years. Since I think I've been doing this 12 years. Our first dinner was 16 people.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And
I mean, just the way you've grown. Just the
biggest one was the drive-by fish fry where we did 135. That worked the dickens out of me.
That's awesome. Well, Just that community support. That's why we love the high country.
It is. And that's what the high country does.
Yep. All right. Well, Randy, good luck tonight. Cook a lot of chicken, have some fun, and, maybe we won't have to worry about shortages anymore.
No, that's going to continue. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later. Take it easy, man. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to All About Home Construction on the podcast. We record this live every Saturday on AM 1450 and FM 96.5 WATA in Boone, North Carolina. You can become a supporter by supporting this with a small monthly donation, and that'll help sustain future episodes. You can do that for as little as 99 cents a month, and that'll go a long way to help our show. Do that, you get your name or your company name included in our advertisements. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.